Hello everyone, and welcome to this tactical fly fisher fly tying tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to be tying for you the tungsten taco egg. And this is an egg that I've been fishing this fall a lot ever since I started playing around with this new Eggstacy chenille material from Flybox UK. And it's an egg that solved a lot of problems for me over a traditional glow bug egg. A lot of times with glow bugs I've had problems with both it's really hard to set the hook and get good penetration. I find I lose a lot of fish on glow bug style eggs, and they also are hard to move through the water when you need to pick them up and make a back cast. But this egg, not only does it really get the fish, but it solves those issues as well, and I've had a lot better hook to landing ratio on it than I have with traditional glow bugs. So I'm starting with a jig hook, and this is a 2.8 millimeter bead, but I tie this fly with 2.3, 2.8, and 3.3 millimeter beads. You could probably do a 4 mil as well. I just haven't had a reason to use that much weight yet with this. I have some 16-aught Vivas thread. This happens to be red, but you could make it any color that you prefer. And I'm going to lay down a little thread base here, and I'll stop just past the halfway point on the hook. And then I'm going to do something a little bit different here. First I'm going to put some super glue, some Loctite brushable right there on that thread. Then I'm going to put the bead over it, and I'm going to lash it down with some X-wraps. So I want to leave a little bit of space in front of the bead here, between the bead and the hook eye, and that's where the chenille for this Eggstacy is going to go. And I'm just X-wrapping over the top of it and stopping in front. Now I have this Flybox Eggstacy chenille here, and I'm going to strip off, go to the tip of it, and just strip off a little bit to expose the core. And go ahead and tie that in with the pinch wrap right in front of the bead. And I went a little longer than I normally do, so I'll trim it off, but a lot of times you can just get short enough that there's not really any waste left. Then I'm going to go ahead and whip finish, get that locked so that I can put it on my bobbin cradle in front. And the important thing that I found working with this material, if you want to be able to manage it, you need to have some water. So I have a little bowl of water right to the side of my vise here, and I've dipped my fingers in it. And I'm just going to stroke back about an inch or an inch and a half of material above the fly, up the chenille. And then you can see it kind of forms this little razor where it clumps the material together, and it's a lot easier to work with and wrap. Okay, so once that's done, I'm just going to spin the vise, and I like to make 3 turns for the most part, and touching turns. You don't want it really overlapping the last turn, but you also don't want it spread out a long ways in front. Okay, so I've made my turns, and now I'm going to take and just split the material with my fingers to separate it as much so I don't trap a whole bunch of extra material with my thread wraps. And go ahead and get at least a few good hard wraps down so you don't lose it before you trim it off. And then just make a quick little head. It is a little bit difficult to get really nice looking heads with this fly, but that's okay. The fish don't really care. So I'm going to put a little super glue on the thread and make some wraps. And then give it a quick 3-turn whip finish, or 4, and cut the thread. Now, the fibers can be a little bit uneven back here, and That may not matter to you and it may not matter to the fish, but I like to trim it off because over time it usually gets more ragged. So I'll trim it off as close to an egg shape as I can. And then you may find that you'll want to have a pair of scissors on the stream with you if you're fishing this pattern a lot. If the fish start to shred it and you get some longer fibers again, you can always trim them off very easily with the pair of scissors. But most of the time I have found that isn't all that necessary. But you can see this material folds back around the bead, and when you set the hook, it'll fold back like that and not only penetrate into the fish's mouth, but you can pull it out of the water without it causing a whole lot of drag. And so it's a lot easier to pick up out of the water than a bulbous glow bug style egg that retains that surface area as you're trying to pull it out of the water. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It's a really simple fly, but it's been really successful and has been responsible for a lot of my fish over the last few months while the eggs have been in the gravel and coming out of it during the brown trout spawn and afterward. So I hope you give it a go. There's a lot of different colors of this material available, so you can make an egg that is both imitative and or just an attractor egg for the middle of winter when you need to pull the fish out of their doldrums. So I hope you liked it. Find me on Facebook at Tactical Fly Fisher and on Instagram as well. And feel free to like and share. And as always, you can find the materials for this fly on tacticalflyfisher.com. Thanks for watching.